What's going on? It's your man Terrence J. We're here for episode 1 of Toxic is the New Masculinity, a brand new podcast that's going to change a little bit of the narrative of what it's like to be a man and what a man is. And so I know a lot of people are looking at the title saying toxic is the new masculinity. No, we're not calling ourselves toxic, but that's what we've been called for some of the thoughts that we've had. And yes, there are some mindsets out there that are not conducive to good relationships, and some of those things we want to talk about, but also we just want to show you how real men have a conversation about certain things, because I've been told a lot of times that men don't hold other men accountable and we don't have these conversations, but we do. And so we don't want to have a platform and a podcast where it's not something where we're going to, bash each other or bash the opposite sex. But we're going to have these conversations from our point of view, things we've lived, things we experienced, conversations we had with some of my other brothers. So welcome to Toxic is the New Masculinity. What's going on, fellas?
Oh, good. I'm really looking forward to getting into this.
All right.
A lot of things to discuss, good to have healthy conversation, intelligent conversation, and I'm just really ready to get into this.
All right, man. So to my left, we got my man Bossy. And so we don't give real government names right here. Well, y'all know my government name, but I don't know. We're gonna keep it as Bossy, you know what I'm saying? To my right, I got my man Keith. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Long time coming. We've been trying to put the show together. And,
yes, we have.
Hey, here we are.
Yeah, man. And then we got a special guest sitting in with us for this first episode. We got my man Alf. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Happy to be here.
Well, see,
here with the fellas.
And you guys got to understand, we brought Alf in because he actually is a premarital counselor. So when we get out of line a little bit, then we brought in our own reinforcements. So we brought in somebody to keep us accountable, okay? So we're going to make sure.
Expert.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So you guys might see him pop in and out of some of these episodes just to come in, because I'm pretty sure if he's not here, he's going to watch us and tell us, hey, man, I got something to say about what y'all said. We here for it. So, actually, we had thought about this show a little while ago, and Keith said, hey, T, I want you to be a part of it. So I told him no problem, because these are conversations we usually have all the time. But there was another conversation that came up off of a post I seen on Facebook, and you said, look, we got to do it now, right? And so I checked this post out, and I came to you and I asked you about this, but I'm going to read a little bit from the post. That I seen a young lady, she posted this, so I'm going to assume that if she posted it, she agreed with what the man was saying, right? So he said, if you can't afford to take care of your household 100%, as a man, just stay single or live alone until you can. A woman has duties in the homes that are not easy at all, that I consider equal to the work that is required to financially secure that of a home. Now, to me, that's 50-50. If I'm working to take care of her fully, she has to make sure she's at home doing the things she needs to do and take care of our household completely. You throw children into the mix, and she might have you beat on what's required by both parties. Because I salute my children's mother every day based on the way she handles motherhood, and as well as taking care of her business in the home. So women are superheroes and need a sense of independence, so they work for their own security and sanity, and I applaud that. But even if she chooses to do that, even if she chooses to work, the bills are still my responsibility. I don't know. I'm just built different. I feel that women in my life deserve to be spoiled and relieved of any financial obligation. So that sparked a conversation that I went to Keith on, and I said, hey, man, let me ask you this question. As a man who works every day, and if we go through the percentile of what an average man makes, or an average black man, or whatever you want to say, which is about between $42,000 and $45,000, you're past that. Could you take care of your household financially 100%?
Absolutely.
All right, so that's not a question. You could do that. So we're not speaking to somebody who broke, who can't do that. Number one. Second question I would ask.
Okay.
Would your lifestyle change if you had to do that?
It will be some changes. Definitely be some changes.
All right. So when we talk about changes, we're talking about quality of life? Or are we talking about the excess spending you have? We talking about the toys? We talking about the vacations? What are we talking about when we talk about changes?
The house will be taken care of, all the bills, everything, as far as even pushing toward retirement. But now, your toys, the things, your extra things you want to do, you got to put that in a different perspective because it's taken away from that. You know, one person, you're talking about living off one income, and both people have dreams, both people have toys they want to do. You want your hair done every week, you want your nails done, you want a new whip. Okay, this comes with, comes with money.
All right, and as we went over this topic before we started, Bossy said, "Man, you got me thinking harder than I thought." So, Bossy, could you take care of your household financially 100%?
Absolutely, but let me give some more information to this because I think this is why this kind of hit me. Right, it's because we never discussed what I do. Right, so and I'm just tell you, I own a small accounting firm. All right, so finances is what I'm good at, and the reason why I speak to that is why this kind of caught me different a little bit is because as a man who take care of my home, right, and one who I feel spoils my wife, you would think I would agree with him, right, but I don't. All right, because particularly like I am from the school of thought of managing or taking care of my home, right? But the way me and my wife work, whether it's decisions on the home, decisions with our children, those things, it's a collaborative talk, right? A collaborative discussion. So I guess the thing that kind of got me the most was at the end when he says women are superheroes, and they are, right? Women do a lot, and they do, right? But he equates it to them doing like a more or less, greater than, less than type of thing. The only way that I could see that happen would be for an uninvolved husband,
right?
Because there are duties that my wife would do that when she can't, I step in, and vice versa. Like we raise our children. You know what I mean? We are involved in our children's life. So when he's saying like, and my wife works, you know what I mean? But so for me, I'm like, okay, from the dynamic of what he's speaking, right? What kind of woman is he talking? A woman that stays home completely, right?
Yeah.
And if she does, at what part is he involved in the kid's life? You know what I mean? Because there are talks like if he had boys, there are conversations that you have with your son that he probably can't have with his mother. Right? What happens in that aspect? You know what I mean? There are things that involve in the home, like for example, right? I know my wife's a talker, right? and she likes to have conversation, right? So then there's times as a husband, I'm her therapist when she needs to be. So I would love to talk to this guy and say, put some context around that, because the way you're saying it right now strikes me as you're an uninvolved father, uninvolved husband, and I don't mean to put him in a pejorative light, but what else could he be if he's like, well, she's doing all this and all I got to do, or my responsibility is to pay the bills? Because in leadership, like, my wife's a VP in my life, you know what I mean? We have collaborative talk, we have collaborative conversation, and the way we roll, she's basically like this. At the end of the day, I have an opinion, this is her speaking, I have an opinion, and you have an opinion. Right? At the end of the day, I trust you to do what's best for both of us, right? But the bottom line is, as long as you hear what I have to say and take it into consideration, I'm cool. And I would think that's generally how households will run. Maybe am I being naive?
No, I don't think you are. I think a lot of times what I'm hearing a lot from women in marriage situations, some of the things they are not happy with is they're saying, I don't feel I'm being heard, right? And so I heard that from several women friends of mine, which made me go home and ask the question, do you feel like you've been heard? And I'm gonna tell you, man, it's hard to go ask some questions that you're scared of the answer, right?
Yeah,
and my wife told me, she said, man, Sometimes no. So I said, okay, so let me go back and do some reevaluation because what I like to do in my life is I like to use everybody as case studies, right? Because guess what? If this is a resounding answer that I'm getting from women in multiple situations, it might be happening in my house too, right? So let me go home and find out, and we like to think that we're doing things, right? But when you hear that you're not, you're like, oh, okay, wait a minute.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let me how do I do that, right? So you're right. I think most general households, that that ear to say, hey, you were given a brain and things like that, because we also know we talk about leading a household and things like that. Final decision comes down to the head of the household, but what's your input?
Exactly.
And what's that input? And so, Alf is a premarital counselor. So you make sure we stand on track, or we halfway talking about
Yeah, I think you're right on
this in the right way.
A lot of times we can come up and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing in my household, until you go ask the wife.
Right.
What does leadership look like? I think that the trend sometimes right now is being taken care of. I think, we call it in the premarital classes, potluck. It's what you bring to the table. So a lot of people are looking at, I want the best husband or I want the best wife, but they're not complete themselves.
Exactly.
If you become complete, be complete as you can. So if that other person is incomplete, you make them complete. So that's where it gets to the point where we define things. Our definition of success is different. We need to define love. It's not about what love looks like. It's about what love walks like. A lot of us think we know the definition. Our definitions are different. We have expectations without explanations, and we don't have anything to talk about. But I expect him to do that. It's a HOV lane when it comes to marriage.
And and I like what you're talking about. Being taken care of, and I'm glad that I didn't know you were in finances. And I'm glad that you brought that to the table that you are, because you see this from a different perspective.
Exactly.
And so the conversation me and Keith had was from understanding, we can go out and pay for this, but I believe, fellas, you guys let me know, I'm seeing this glorification of yesteryear, right? and pop work.
I'm glad you said
Granny didn't, right? And I said, you're right.
Granny wasn't toting Louis Vuittons either.
Granny wasn't toting Louis Vuittons. Now, I will say this. Black women have always worked. From whatever they were allowed to, or whatever their skill set were. My great grandmother, she was a maid, she was a midwife, she always went out and did something. So, but I understand that it wasn't where you went out and gave your 40 a week all the time, right?
Right.
But the one income household, like your grandparents did, grandma had no red bottoms, she took no vacations, she never went to brunch with a grass wall up on the wall with a neon sign that said we live in life. She didn't what she did was she might have baked something and went to the neighbor's house down the street, or they had the church gatherings or something like that. So all of these things that you want today, your grandmother didn't have that on her one income. She sold and made a lot of the clothes.
Exactly.
She cooked every day. She budgeted. She made sure that this money was set up for the family. And so if she had a special occasion and she went and got her hair done or something like that, but it went every week. She didn't have a nail tech. She didn't have all these other things.
She didn't have a housekeeper. She didn't get a babysitter.
She didn't get any of that.
I'm sorry. She didn't get a babysitter that wasn't related to her.
That wasn't related to her. So you guys, you guys, I just want to know, man, when you start to hear like the talk of the young man saying, hey, if you're not taking care of this 100%, you need to stay by yourself. And I'm asking, could most people ever get with anybody if they had to wait till they can take care of 100%?
And go ahead, Alpha.
I was going to say, where's the balance? If you made a lot of money, she would want the time. There's a balance when you spending a lot of time, now they want the money. So where's the balance? It's all.
I want to address something real quick that you said. That point there and what you said, very similar, right? Within this topic, I think there's something to be said about what love is and the expectations of love, because I think it falls into this category, because there's a particular we all are a map or evidence of our experiences. So I will try my best never to use the word all women, most women, all that. If I do, just understand it's just my experience, all right? So I don't want sisters getting out there mad and nothing like that. It's just the ones that I've ever experienced. But I digress. But I find more often than not, right, that when we hit a brick wall of men versus women against any topic, because I believe this is going to create a lot of buzz, right? The aspect of love is it really comes from a standpoint of what can love do for me? Like you brought up, what are you bringing to the table? And I think a lot of people who initially would support this argument look at it from a standpoint, primarily female, how it benefits them. And if it does, then it's a great idea,
Right.
you know? And I'm like, you were talking about the balance. You know, I learned a lot later in life, right? When I always say, I want to get married, right? Or I want to fall in love, right? What supported that idea was what I would get out of it, right? My assumption that when I came to the table, my plate was already full. I had the buffet. I got the entree, you know what I mean? So when I bring it here, what you gonna do for me, right? But then I found out that actually love is completely opposite of that. Love is sacrificial. Love, when you want to be in love, it's all about what can I do for you.
Right.
And that's a lot of responsibility, right? You know, that's a lot of responsibility because that's ultimately what love is. I hear people say love is different. Like, in other words, if I would say like fats, right? You love fats. I notice you love fats, right? You don't love fats for what he do for you.
No.
Right?
No.
You don't sit there and say, well, I love Fats, I'm going to do for Fats because of what he does or how he acts. Or no, you love Fats and you show your love by sacrificing for him.
So everybody knows.
Just for the sake.
That's my son. So everybody knows. That's my son. Don't get it twisted, y'all. That is my son. All right.
I was waiting. I was going to say, this is going to be crazy if you don't say it.
Yeah.
I'm an old dude, so something you not going to remember this new world.
He grew up with my son, people. So, hey, all right, that's my son. Keep going now.
I should take your son, right? And I find like when it comes to male-female relationships, the reason why we fall or have difference of opinions or skewed in this topic, right, is because when you throw out the word love or marriage, either consciously, because some sisters and brothers are bold with it, or unconsciously, it's all about what can be done for me. Because you always hear, like, if I take the point of the sisters, right? What do they say? I'm a queen. I need a man to do this for me.
Right.
I need a person to treat me for how I want to be treated or accept me for how I want. And if there's something that they should take accountability for it, right? It's always, well, it's not my fault. You just can't accept my truth. And, those type of things. So it's kind of like when we get into topics like this, right? Or any other topics we will cover, right? It's interesting that the defense mechanism will always come from that point of what can love do for me, right? But once you understand that love is sacrificial, completely sacrificial, and when you fall in love, that means the burden of the sacrifice falls on you. I think your mind and your wants and your needs and your expectations, as he was saying, will be completely different.
Right. Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to come from a sports point of view. On two subjects. You said something about women say they never heard. A lot of times, it's not what you want to hear.
Oh, that part, yeah.
So it's a difference.
Okay, so it's not what the guy want to hear, it's not what the woman want to hear.
What the woman wants to hear. Like you said, I'm never heard.
Oh, okay.
But it's not what you want to hear. So it's not accepted. So I'm not heard.
So we keep quiet. We tend to keep quiet because our feeling is
because my expectation was to get something else,
right?
And you didn't give me what I expected. So you know what? I'm not heard.
Okay, so you said so because of what she said didn't get received and get the desired outcome.
Right.
Then it's like you didn't hear me.
You're right. Because it's an expectation. It's almost I call it you're the movie director, and you're gonna tell me what I'm gonna say. What you're gonna say is already been scripted up, and when I don't hit the mark on that, it's like cut.
Yeah, because you didn't respond the way
she wanted
it was.
to.
Yeah, and that's also a challenge I think too. A lot of times, real quick, I remember one time I got into difficulty with my sister, right? And at bottom line, she apologized. She did. She sincerely apologized, right? But when she apologized, I didn't accept it. Why? Because she didn't apologize the way I wanted her to apologize. She wasn't heard enough the way I wanted her to be heard, right? So my idea how she should have apologized superseded the fact that she came to me and apologized the best way she knew how. And that's kind of what you're saying, right? That a lot of times, now I can't say we communicate or not, but what I will say, I do get what he's saying, that there are instances in communication where I can receive something and my response to what I receive is in the best way I know how to respond. And it's not received because I didn't, as you say, walk the script. I ad-libbed. I didn't walk the script, right? So because I didn't walk the script, you know what I mean? And I did the best I could, but I didn't meet the standard or walk the script. It's received as, well, you didn't hear me.
So Alf, in the communication aspect that you see in the premarital counseling, I'm pretty sure some of the post-nuptial situations, this conversation of, you know, whether or not the man has a predetermined ideal that I should take care of, or the woman has a predetermined ideal that he should take care of everything 100% and I have no financial responsibility, where's that communication break down in the man and woman the most?
It's in the definition. It's in the roles. If a woman is looking at me to be the sole provider, I'm looking at Christ for my provision. So while you looking at me, I'm looking at him. You better be looking where I'm looking. It's not a release of responsibility, but it's a focus. It's about us being on the same page. See, when you knew it came from him, the way you prayed for me would be different if you expected it from me and the way you speak to me. See, we're both praying to God for our provision. Now the focus not on me. Now you're praying for me more than you would just expecting me to go to work. So now these are the things that we speak about. It's not taking the responsibility from me. Is what I'm saying. There's a lot of people thanking Walmart when they should be thanking the farmer. See, there's a difference from a resource and a source. When he's our source, now the way that we relate to him makes it harmony between us. Now, a lot of men don't get married because they feel, hey, I can't do this. That's not and we're stressed out. We feel we don't feel that we're maximized if we don't make enough money. But purpose has always been greater than profit. So you live in a purpose-filled life. A lot of women want men who are already made. Yeah, you may get to this man who's already made, and when you get with him, now he has a situation.
That should be
he also has another level that he's looking at. If he's already at that point, the question is, are you worthy of being with that person? Because sometimes you have to be able to be with somebody to start from the source to go up.
What use would it be for a 4-string quarterback to go with the best quarterback in the NFL? Why would you want to be on the team? When you look at basketball teams, a big 3, they have a big 2. A 4th-string player, how would he benefit? So I'm not saying match it up. What I'm saying is, why are you looking for the best without being the best to be a part of the best?
But isn't that like what you said, man, is so on point, but I'm talking about the one addressing to the person who's looking for the best. That's not a best. That's self-evaluation, or that's when they lie to them.
But boss, here's the thing though, is that in today's society, everybody take the DJ Khaled approach. We the best.
Exactly.
Everybody is the best,
and that's what I'm saying.
So how do you self-evaluate? You guys tell me, how do you self-evaluate to know if you, because I'm a believer of this. You deserve what you can create or negotiate.
Correct.
People just believe in that because I woke up. I deserve, and I'm like, wait a minute, what situation have you created, or what situations have you negotiated? Because for me to walk into a job and say, you know what, I deserve $150,000 a year, and they say, well, this job requires a 4-year degree. You went to college? Nah. But I deserve it. Why? Because my mama said I was great.
Yeah.
So I got something for you on that. Society's put it this way. If I'm a man, and we're all men here, you know, we understand our limitation. I think for some women there's no limitation because they think, I get it, you're the queen. And I think what they value now, what they put in songs today, and I think we all understand that we're adults, women, we know what I'm a bad this, what I got, this, you can't do without this. But the deal is, we don't value ourselves like that as men. We value ourselves as men as like, hey, look, I can bring this much to the table. Like he said, a fourth string, the first string, I bring this much to the table. So you know what? What I'm looking for is in my caliber. I'm not going to go up here. I work at Southwest Airlines. I'm finna go holler at Beyonce.
Well, so let me put into a pretty frame when you said no limitations. Sometimes, because we're not gonna say all or most.
Okay.
No. What I'm saying is sometimes, and I have noticed this in conversation. Men thinking probability, women thinking possibility. There's a possibility you can win the lottery,
right?
But you're not taking your mortgage payment to go play the lottery,
right?
Because the probability that you're going to win is low. So a lot of times you're looking at saying, okay, I have this set amount of money, I have this set amount of skill set, I can maximize this, and I can even learn a new skill, maybe take whatever my salary is, and maybe I might get good at investing or things like that. But, or I might have picked a career that I love that don't pay an astronomical amount of money.
Right.
And I had a woman told me that a man making $50,000 a year was a liability to her, right? I said, liability? I said, so just look him in his face and tell him he ain't ish. She said, well, no, I didn't say that. I said, yes, you did. Yeah. Because if you tell me I'm a liability. So she said, well, I said, okay, let me just break this down. I said, you do know teachers you got to have a 4-year degree. So it's college educated. I said, most teachers are starting out making 50-some thousand a year, and their raises are so small and incremental. I said, but let's say that young man who's a teacher, he's been a teacher for 10 years, so let's say he's right at 60. So if 50 a liability, I guess 60 is too. But watch this. He was a young man who nobody paid attention to, and all he want to do is pour into these boys. He's the happiest he can be. I said, when he's happy, he can treat you right. He can be good to you, be good to your kids. Now, you chose to go be a doctor, nurse, top real estate agent, whatever, and you make more money. I said, is he a liability to you because he provides all this stuff and don't provide this? She said, well, he's going to learn how to press up T-shirts or do stuff. I said, so he has to go get a hustle. So you want him to go get a hustle? I said, but he was mentoring the boys at the church on the weekends because he has a strong faith and he's in the church. I said, so he has to give that up to go now press up T-shirts or side hustle, things like that, just to meet a certain level. Now, and here's the thing. I think I can speak for all of us. As a man, wouldn't you love to be able to say, baby, don't worry about that. I got that, and we never miss a beat on anything. Would you not love to be able to do that?
Absolutely.
I would.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know what? I'm a differ on that.
Okay.
Because what I'm hearing is we're marrying the pocket and not the man.
No. That's not. I'm saying it. What I'm saying is,
would I love to be able to say, "Hey, you ain't got to worry about nothing. It's on you."
Yeah.
I ain't because of
exclude the superficial. Exclude I'm thinking. Exclude the superficial of there's a girl who just wants you for your money.
Take that.
Yeah. What T is just saying in general as a dude. Let's take for granted you meet a chick you really like, a good girl.
Right.
I want to do all I can for you. I want to give you.
Absolutely.
I think every dude.
Well, are you
wants to
saying now okay? Just say put it this way. Say if I'm a multimillionaire.
Money is not
an option. Yeah. Would I like to be able to say I want a woman? She doesn't have to do anything. I got you.
Well, let's
not
say
just any woman.
But let's say
the woman I love.
In general.
The woman I love.
If you met a woman in general,
let's go. You ain't met her. She was shooting with you in the gym in high school. She was the one shagging balls and passing you. Right. She was there.
So now I'm a multi-millionaire.
You would love to be able to say, baby, listen, we ain't worried about nothing. I can pay these bills. I can save for retirement. I can put the kids through college, and I can do all these things.
After we do that, then what?
No, just asking you.
Would I love to be able to do that?
Would you love to be able to do it?
Like in general. I think you put too much thought into it, but in general, yeah.
I hear what you're saying, yeah. But I feel like I'm doing that anyway.
I know, but what's the but?
I feel like I'm doing that anyway.
What's the but, though?
The but to me is if I'm like this. I'm a ball player. I played ball all my life. So as a teammate, I think guys, we play a team sport. So for me to say, hey man, that's like me saying, hey, I'm the quarterback. I would love for my offensive line not to have to block. But it's not reality because you know what? They need to block. I'm taking something away from them. Yes, I would love, I can say we can do whatever we want. But at the same time, I need participation in
Okay.
No, and he's not denying that.
I'm not denying that.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is, and so you got this, we're a bunch of guys talking, so we're keeping the sports.
Okay.
So the D line that your professional offensive lineman, which is your woman, is now high school D linemen. They come in, they ain't got to block as hard. They up here just patty caking and they ain't got to really push like they would another grown man, right?
Okay.
Because if I look at a situation like LeBron James and Savannah, she has a business on the side that she does, right? Most people know about it because she's not a person craving for the spotlight.
Right.
But she goes out and gives her contribution to whatever she wants to do.
Right.
Her money, probably, I don't know what she makes, but I'm pretty sure the money LeBron makes in the household, that light bill is expensive. Right. Her money is probably like, I might be
let him finish, because I know where you're going.
I might be able to pay the light bill up in here, right? If I had to contribute financially. But she doesn't.
So you saying what I just said, you know that, right?
Okay.
So what I was saying is, like, LeBron, like, she ain't got to do nothing. But I would want a woman who's willing to say, like LeBron, she has her own business. It's not about the money, but I want to see a Proverbs 31 woman.
Ooh, I got another.
Okay.
I want a Proverbs 31 one.
But T, not speaking for T, but he, like the LeBron situation was what I thought was perfect. What he's saying is this: if you don't put a face or name, right? If I was he's asking like in general.
In general, yeah.
Just in general, when you step up to the table, assuming it's an ideal situation, right?
Right.
Your idea is this: meet a girl, right? You don't know her, but if somebody was to tell you, "Hey, straight up, Jesus Christ was coming down and tell you, I'm telling you, this is a good chick."
Got you.
Your natural instinct, the way you feel about you is, I'm a kind of dude that if I know she good, she ain't got to worry about nothing. And he said, in general, wouldn't you say most men are like that? I would agree, yeah. I would agree to that. I would say,
we want to take her out.
Right, if you remove all the superficial, in general, every man wants to be. I had this analogy. I told it to my wife when I first met her. I said, generally, kind of the same way you're going. I said, generally, if you're honest with yourself, right, and you poll most dudes, right, either consciously or subconsciously, all of us wants to be our wife's Superman. All of us want to be her superhero. Some of us already convinced we are day one. You know, you convince yourself she the best she ever had, or whatnot. And that's kind of what generally you want to be your wife's superhero. You want to rescue her, give her the world, you generally want to do that. When you just say in general, somebody would say, how would you treat your wife? Without putting a face to it, just as a general, you say in general, you want to be. You ain't got to
you know what? I would be the
dude
dude would do it in silence.
Okay, but I know Alpha wanted to jump in.
Yeah. Just quick to answer your question. You asked how will we judge that. My thought was be coming into a situation. If your significant other was a car, would you be a parachute to that car, slow it down when things get up to speed, or would you be a spoiler? And that's the question that I think we can ask ourselves. When I'm attached myself to something, do I advance it in speed or do I hold it back?
Yeah, and absolutely. And so when we start talking about these conversations about what we would want to do and what we can do, I think society has, if we look at just the way that the world goes economically, it's hard for a person to do it with one income. Right, and I think there's a overinflated thought process of what the average person even makes. You know, I see these videos that say, "What do you want your man to make?" "Oh, 500,000. I think he should make this." And I'm like, "Do you know the percentages?" Most people don't know the percentage. It just sounds good. And so when I look at this, and I wanted to ask you guys this perspective. It talked about he said, you know, what he does outside the house and what she does inside the house. That's what he believes is 50-50. Do you guys believe in 50-50? And I don't care how you think about 50-50. Do you believe in the concept of 50-50?
That's
never
hard.
50-50.
Yeah,
It's never 50.
it's
I don't
never-
believe in 50-50 because a relationship will never be 50-50.
Yeah, I'm kind of, because I tend to be literal in my thought process. You know, it's 50-50, obvious half, right? I think most people think when you take 100% one day, she takes the other, and over a period of time, it adds up, and it'd be 50-50. But I'm with Keith. I don't think it can be. I don't think it's ever going to be split down the middle. You know what I mean? You try to share duties as much as you possibly can, and your idea is to be fair. You know what I'm saying? And I think you start there. Being fair sometimes, fair isn't always equal. We do know that. All right, fair isn't always equal.
Are we looking to be fair? Because I heard fair is where they judge the pigs that with carnivals and Ferris wheels. So are we looking to be fair? Or are we looking to be equitable?
That's what I'm saying, right? And it's interesting you say that. For me, now when you say equitable, you mean in giving to the relationship is strictly financially?
No, into the relationship.
I'm looking to be equitable.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think you necessarily can be fair.
Yeah,
I don't.
And I'll say this because I want to hear what the conversations are. The 50-50, the in general, like I said, I didn't put a term on financially or whatever. I'm a person that says, listen, I don't believe in 50-50. I believe in 100-100. Give me all.
I was going to say, you took the words out of my mouth because it's a 100% relationship.
I'm gonna give you my all.
Right.
Give me your all.
Right.
And so. But I'm always curious. As people get ready to go, Alf, into the relationship, into a marriage, what are those 50-50 conversations like, and what are some of the biggest hang-ups before they even go into it that the arguments start on?
Is the pay. It's the pay. Mm-hmm. How much? What is he gonna do? That's the question: is how much we don't know how we're gonna do this, and that's the quickest way to be rich or the quickest way to be wealthy is to find contentment. Mm-hmm. That's the quickest way to do it. People ask me, "Where's your better half?" I don't have another half. This is not coffee. You could put half and half in coffee, you'll never have a whole.
Right. Exactly.
So the question is, whatever we're content with, you can talk to a person that, how it was when we first came up. Let me see how it feels to get 1,000. You save 1,000, 5,000. You save that. You get to 50,000. You'll never want enough. You'll never have enough. Right. So as soon as I become content, now I can see how much I have. When I live a quiet life, when I can appreciate this, now what I thought was big is I'm asking for too much. We'll never know people know the price of everything and don't know the value of anything.
Yeah, or you know what? I like what you said. I'm going to add something to it because I would say this, using your same analogy and words, but going a little different. People know the price of things, and I find out, particularly in relationships, they don't know the cost of it. All right. I learned a long time ago that there is what's called a backside to every blessing. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I think a lot of people put value on the trinket, but don't know the cost to get there. Like we were alluding to earlier about, again, not using all, but we've all had, been directly involved with, or somehow experienced the idea of a particular woman who wants a man to make 100,000, 100 million, $1 billion. Like, like Shannon Sharp says it best. You know what I mean? You got to pull up to his table with more than just an appetite. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we've experienced that, right? And what I see is them wanting they understanding the price of a house that a billionaire can buy, right? Or the price of the cars or the bags or the clothes or the lifestyle he can provide, right? But what they don't understand is the cost to get there, okay? Mm-hmm. And so I counsel a lot of women who've had that viewpoint. I want to marry a ball player or multimillionaire or those or that things. And I say, if you don't understand the sacrifice and the cost that has got him to get there,
it comes with a
right?
price.
Because any man, as a matter of fact, let's just wipe out athletes let's wipe out athletes for a man who's built a business, whether it's 500,000 or 500 million. He got sweat equity in there that pretty will never buy. You follow me? That sexy thighs and hips will never replace. All right? He's looking for someone to add value to what he's built. So when you come to the table just thinking pretty eyes, sexy thighs, and a big butt and boobs is going to keep him, you're just another trinket.
Yeah.
Trust me when I tell you this, because if you can ask anybody, any person of wealth, the thing that matters most to him is a return on his investment to grow his equity.
That's in his DNA.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this. And I've spoke with Alpha about this. Have you ever seen the guy that has little? The guy who they don't have a 3-car garage. In fact, they don't have a garage. They in a old broke down truck car. They may be living from check to check, and you see them laughing, you see them smiling. I see the guy who's got a 4-car garage, Mercedes in every one of them. Got the hips, the woman got that, encircling the block.
Well, it's that old commercial. You know, I have the new house, I got the new car, I got the boat, and I'm in debt up to my eyeballs.
Well, he's not even in debt.
No, what I'm saying is the premise of the commercial was I'm stressed because I got all of this.
But the deal is, what I'm saying is, you can have all those things, and you can have a woman, and y'all. But do you have a partner? It's a difference.
I get what you're saying.
It's
about
a difference.
something to come
Now,
on.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean by return on investment.
Right.
He's looking for a partner not to depreciate his value by spending everything in sight.
Right.
He's looking for a partner for a return on investment
Right.
to grow more. And you're not. We were saying earlier. I don't know when the conversation we were talking about how T kind of brought it up. How people falsely value themselves, and the fact of the matter is, people tend to overvalue themselves because they don't want to look themselves in the mirror and truth and devalue yourself. Generally, most people don't want to be wrong. They don't want to be wrong about themselves.
No, they
right?
don't.
Yeah, so they oversell themselves and they live up to their own. They try to hype them up to an expectation they can't meet.
Well, boss, let me help you out with that. So, a lot of times there's a difference between the value and the worth, right? So your house could be worth a lot to you because your kids were born there, and you was raised there, and you was given to you by your mom. The marketplace sets the value.
Yes.
Right. But what happens when you overlook the marketplace and say, "Hey,
you have an overinflated."
That's the point he's making.
Self.
Yes.
I want to bring that out.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
have
That's
overinflated value.
yeah.
And so what happens is, I was a realtor. You know what they say? As a realtor, you come in, boss, and you say, "Hey, Terrence on to sell my house," and I say, "Okay, we'll price it at this." Bossy, if you get 100 offers day one, I price your house too low.
Right. Yeah. Right.
If you get no offers, I price your house too high.
Right.
There's a sweet spot in the middle in there, but the thing is that I don't care what happened in your house. I don't care. It doesn't matter because the marketplace sets the value. So the way not to sit there, well, I want 1.5 million for my house. Sir, there's not a house on your street that sold more for 800,000. I don't care what you want for it. You're not getting more than that. And so I think that's the mindset that we have to understand. You have to start to really look and say, what is your actual value to the marketplace to which you're trying to sell to? So that's what we're missing a lot of times. And this is not a woman only problem. This is a man and a woman problem. You have to understand to the marketplace, because I've seen some brothers that are like, yeah, I deserve this, and I'm like, bruh. First of all, we all have mentioned something about bringing to the table, right? So I'm gonna tell you, I've actually instructed women, don't ever answer that question.
Right.
When a man asks you what you bring to the table, stop and say, what do you want me to bring to the table? I guarantee he has no answer.
Right.
So the thing is that for a man we can use the king and queen term.
I hate that term, by the way, but I tell you what, go ahead.
But if we're going to use that term, I tell all my brothers, you got to build the kingdom before you go search for a queen.
That's right. Amen.
Because you can't have a queen come in and be queen of Peasantville. So And I'm not saying that your kingdom has to be this streets of gold and things. What I'm saying is,
it don't have to be Egypt. You can have a Judah.
You need to have something, because I'm gonna guarantee you, if a woman sees that you have already accumulated something, but you got a blueprint for the rest, she's like, I see where you're going.
Right. Exactly.
But what happened is, you ain't built nothing, you ain't got a blueprint,
and you don't have a plan.
You don't have a plan or nothing, and you like, yeah, but I deserve. But I'm gonna tell you where that comes from a lot of times. He been a man in his house since he was 6, and real men know that to be a man takes work.
Right.
If you got called the man in the house at 6 and you never did any work, and you were the man in the house at 16, you never did any work. Now at 26, you trying to lay up under a woman,
right,
and still call yourself a man, and you ain't never had to do no work.
Yeah.
That happens. We have to see that a lot of times you look, you say, oh, he don't even know what it takes to be.
Right.
So let me ask you this. You asked me a question earlier. You said, would I feel good to be able to say, hey, you can have everything. You can have whatever you want. We're good because I got the money. But I feel when you do that, you take the responsibility away from a woman. I mean, you can. Because everybody has a responsibility in a relationship.
I want to have to say it, but I got something to say to that.
Let me finish what I'm saying on that. When I say I take away, it's like this. I can make you lazy.
True.
I can make, by giving you everything.
That's anybody.
I can make you lazy.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you can't have what you want, but what I'm saying is I don't want to make you lazy. I'm not saying you got to hustle to get this, you got to jump over this hoop to get this. But at the same time, I think a woman that if I'm coming correctly, and the first thing is I'm not coming with my pockets, I'm coming with my heart. So I need to know what love looks like. What you're giving me is your love, and what I'm giving you my love. I'm not giving you my pocket. Because my pocket can run out, my pocket can go away. Are you gonna be there to stand fast when my pocket's gone? Because I need to know a woman if you love me that much, you're gonna say, hey, you know what? Don't worry about that. Because I'm here for you, not your pocket, not your house, not your car, not what you built. I see the potential in you. Let's go be a team. Let's go be a power team. A power couple, not a power person.
Well, see, I see, and we'll let Al, because he gonna say something a lot more profound than I. He gonna say it in like 4 words, you know.
Yeah.
What I mean? But see, the way I received what T said was like generally in these conversations, I'm always coming from a standpoint where he won't say like, assuming this is a good woman, then how you react, and I think that's kind of the part that's being missed here. I think. Because I can tell you, when you talk about like partnerships, right? I believe so wholeheartedly in that, right? I believe, God, I had so much to say on this, but I'm trying to keep it short, right? I believe there's a principles in a partnership. I believe there's roles in a partnership, right? And I believe, unfortunately, that a lot of those roles don't get discussed and they're not made clear about what one's willing to do, what one isn't willing to do. I'm really just talking about conversation.
Right.
I think that's imperative to have honest conversation. And that typically does not happen, unfortunately. There's so much that's being assumed, right? And when there's assumption and not honest conversation, you just building a house of chaos.
And I think assumption comes because we're afraid to speak the truth, because the truth is not always received how we want it to be received at the time. So you know what I say? I'm going to assume you're going to catch on to what's going on. And that's a passive man.
So this question to our resident premarital counselor.
Give it to us.
In-house expert. In-house expert.
Yeah, in-house expert. We're talking about finances and understanding, how we're going to try to make our family move forward, financially. There's a conversation that we're having about the man paying 100% of the bills, right? In the Bible, it talks about man being a provider, correct? Right. All right, and correct me anytime I'm wrong. Okay. It talks about that, you're a provider and protector and all that. Did it ever state in the Bible because it said that the woman is a helpmate. Did it ever say that she's the helpmate exclusion of finances, or she's the helper 100% of the way? So is finances excluded out of her role as a helpmate?
I think that's a great question. When you look in Proverbs 31, it says the woman went out and bought a vineyard. So if she bought a vineyard, she was planting food. If you have food at home, you don't have to go out and buy food. And it speaks about in Proverbs 31, it speaks about, and if you look at the order, the Bible says do everything in decency and order. In Proverbs 31, it says taking care of the home, taking care of the home, taking care of the home. And then it says give her reward for the hands of her work. Now it says, husband, you take care of her, not after what she's done at the house, and then it talks about her clothing, her Louis Vuitton, her royalty. But that's after she took care of everything at the home. And he understands the reason why a part of the reason why his success, he talks about her at the gate. He's telling her about it at the gate. She's at home. She's never been to the gate. He's talking about her at the gate because he wouldn't have been at the gate if it wasn't because of her. But I'm saying a part of her financial, it says she was dealing with the spindle. She was making clothes. You just spoke about it. And then it spoke about a point to where in Proverbs 31 where she started selling the clothes, like my grandmother. She used to make quilts, Alabama, G's Ben. Now she has thousands of quilts in Macy's and Dillard's and stuff. But she started with the home, and after the kids were grown, what she was diligent with in the home carried over to society. She wasn't starting in society and then bring it back to home. See, the primary is at home, and when you take care of home, you started in private, then you go in public. That's why your grandma used to say, you acting out. See, a lot of people want to impress out here for an hour, but not being anything in private at home for 23 hours. So the focus is at home. She has everything to do with what's coming in financially, because now he's not spending time at home or missing work because his clothes are washed or because his socks, So all those things have a lot to do with bringing in finances. See, although she's the silent partner of what's coming in, and it's not always bringing something in because she's outside of the house. It's the things that she do in the house that have everything to do with what's coming in from the outside. I'll say this real quick in baseball. For me, one of my second years when I hit 300, a lot of people say, you had a great year, you hit over 300. Yeah, I hit over 300 because I had another leadoff guy that was hitting in front of me. When he was on, they didn't want him to steal, so I saw fastballs. I couldn't just say, yeah, I'm a 300 hitter, because I already knew somebody was somewhere that had nothing to do with the plate but had everything to do with my batting average. And that's exactly how a woman is. A guy can be super, super effective outside of the home when she's not bringing in anything but has everything to do with him being at peace at work to be able to bring the finances home.
You see, that's next time we have this, I'm gonna bring me a notepad so I can write stuff down so I can stay with it because my brain go too fast. But I wanna expound on this real quick. Try to keep this short. And probably about Proverbs 31, right? I want to address that in the fact of what Alf was saying, and that's a woman who understands value and honor. All right.
In what?
Proverbs in everything, in her relationship with a man, because he was talking about what she did.
Gotcha.
That's a woman who has the idea of basically this: I know who I am, and I know what I'm worth. I know what I was designed for, right? And I know what tasks fall under me, right? It doesn't matter. I don't need to pump myself up or reassure myself because I already know who I am, right? And where that comes from, right? I always try to explain this. It's always interesting to me when I have conversations of young ladies who have self-entitlement. They'll tell you how great they are, how wonderful, or how blessed they are, what she can do and what she can bring to the table. And it's ironic when they talk about, I'm a Proverbs 31 woman, because she does none of that.
Yes.
She does none of that. It's like like Jordan, right? Jordan knows he's great, right? But Jordan would express how great he is on the court and would talk trash afterwards, right? When he show up, it's not, he was like, I know who I am, and I'm well aware of it. He didn't have to brag about it.
Right.
Matter of fact, I don't want to use Jordan. Let me just take Kobe, more or less, to make it clear. Or football, Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
Everybody, Barry's a bad dude.
Right.
He didn't have to tell anybody how great he was. He didn't have to walk up and say, look, I'm Barry Sanders. Y'all don't see me breaking ankles. No, because he know who he is, right? No one could define, or he didn't have to prove who he was, right? And so when you talk about like the Proverbs 31 woman, I say she knew who she was, right? You just remember in the beginning of the Bible, like to bring your beginning question of whether woman, is her helpmeet, right? Is in regards to finances, right? You have to understand when she was made, when she was created, when men and women were created, they were equal. They were the same, right? There was no leadership at that time. They were the same. It wasn't until the fall of man, right? Because remember, woman didn't have a name. She was just identified as woman. That's what Adam named her. He gave her an identity. He didn't give her a name, right? Because in Bible times, and when God takes somebody under their leadership, he names them or renames them. Because in Hebrew, that shows a sign of leadership, of headship. She didn't have a name until the fall when God said, your desire will be with your husband, but he will be over you, right? Or your desire will be for your husband, but he will rule over you. Not in the but that's not in the manner of less than, right? He was advanced to headship, and they were supposed to be a collaboration there, right? So she lost her title, but she didn't lose her worth, right? She didn't lose her worth, her intellect, or any of those things. The Proverbs 31 woman understood that she was still, in all value, mindset, and intellect, that man's equal, right? And with her, but she didn't feel the need to press upon him to be over him. All right, so she understood, I am great, but in this position, my greatness is to elevate him, not necessarily verbally or submissively or anything like that, but being great so he can talk great about me. I'm not sure if I'm making that clear, right? In other words, she was well aware of who she was and what she was worth and what her leadership role was without having to puff herself up. And because she had was well aware of who she was and what her worth is, it caused her to go out in the field, to buy, to finance, because her job was this. I am part of a corporation of me and my dude, all right? And since I'm in part of a corporation between me and my dude, I'm going to work to show value and true value in me, because that's my position now, to help us build this entity of me and him.
Now you said something, I'm going to bring it to you. You know, we talked once before. I think what happens is in this partnership, in leadership, you said one time, it's like being on the board. I'll never forget this. You said, it's like if I'm the head of the board and the CEO in the company.
I remember you talking. Yeah,
if he's the head and we're on the board, our job, and I'm just gonna put it in a woman's point of view, to give him the best tools to run this company
and to make the best decisions.
Not to make the decisions, but give him the best tools to make the best decisions and right decisions. But I think and it's biblical too. The roles gonna flip. So this is written, but we get twisted is when the woman wants to say, hey, I got an idea. I think we need to do this. Versus say, hey, I got an idea. Look at this and let's go. That's what a partnership is.
And I got that, and we also have to point out, that's the fault of the woman is what you're saying, but we also have to point out the fault of the guy. It's when she do bring something and we don't do what Bossy said, we don't even take it into consideration.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So that's our shortcoming.
Absolutely.
As the head and as leader, that's our shortcoming.
Because that's what you said. Because we get a lot of dudes. To the women's credit, we got a lot of men who are willing to accept, like they feel authority is the same as superiority, and they're not.
No,
they're not at all. Authority takes responsibility, intelligence, and work and sacrifice. Right. Superiority takes no work at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you put a baby here right now, a 2-week-old baby, right? I'm superior in power and speed. Don't take no work for me to do that at all. At all. You know what I mean? And so a lot of guys take that leadership role of authority and think it's superior and think they don't have to do what you said. They don't have to work. They don't have to give examples.
Yeah.
They don't have to be patient and listen with the intent to understand versus listening to correct. You know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. You can't-
And so the thing is, and I've had a couple points when he was talking about using the Proverbs 31 woman and having the understanding of taking care of the home. And I wanted to know, I understand the way that the Bible teaches us, is withstand the test of time, right? But does there create any wiggle room with the way society has almost, if we're honest about it, society has literally pushed the woman out of the house. We're not. I'm not even talking about the woman who says, "Oh, I want to work." No, it's the case where I can have a good job and making enough money to take care of us, and then all of a sudden, as time goes on, they say that money you now making used to be worth here, now it's worth here, and unless you're gonna create extra hours in a day, you can't work enough. Now the woman comes into play. Is there any wiggle room in that as far as her being able to help financially, or is it our sole responsibility to be able to say, hey, you inside the house and we outside the house? James Evans said on Good Times, I mess with my wife all the time. So 2 places for the in the kitchen and bedroom. I'm just joking, but I always mess with it because we watched an episode. So and because I want to make sure that we create an understanding. If we're gonna hold up, the Bible and say we're gonna do this.
Right.
How does that work? Are we out of line if our woman does work?
You don't outline if she works, but if she prioritizes the outside more than she prioritizes the home, now she's out of order. That's what we go. It's the order in everything that it speaks about. And it talks about, a lot of times our wives are out of order. We're saying they're not submitting because we aren't submitting.
Right.
It starts with us. When Eve ate the fruit from the tree, nothing said. As soon as Adam ate, oh, Adam, where are you?
Yeah.
So there's where the authority is. It's when we step out of order. Remember the thing, you listen, the words that God told Adam is because you took your wife's word over mine, out of order. So it's an order thing, and it's our responsibility, and that's what I think. And this is where my faith is. If we knew everything that we desired came in the order of everything that God has for us, the way that life walked out, we would have less stress on trying to make it because it's something that He's already promised. But we lean to our own understanding and think we can see further than Him, and now that's when chaos happens, when we're out of order.
All right.
You say, I provide these things.
Yeah.
And
Well-
this providing for us, for me, it was just money. But it says when you provide for your wife, when you cover your wife, it's covering them, protecting them, not just physically, I got the 9. It's protecting them mentally.
Can I?
So let me.
Okay, got to share just one because you about to put me in. You about to put me in tears right now. You know what I'm saying, I'm feeling you. But to expound on what he said, I'll just tell you a quick story. I have no problem uplifting my woman, right? But the bottom line is this. Respect, honor, clear conversation, right? To build up what you two have together is always supposed to supersede individual agenda, right? When we were talking about sharing at 50% or whatever, dude, I say in front of everybody, I love the shit out of my wife. You can believe that if you want. I do, right? Because of the kind of person she is, makes me want to do everything for her. And I can tell you without a doubt, if she was sitting here, she would tell you the kind of person that I am makes her do the things she likes to do. There's never an inventory of I do all this and you do all that. It's never like that, right? So why am I telling that? I say that to say this, right? I say that to say this. I'm always on inventory. We'll take a check of, am I doing enough? And I don't feel like I'm doing enough, right? And I remember prior to COVID, the whole dress it up in suits and going to see clients and all that. And Keith and I have a lot of things in common. One of them, we OCD. Everything got to be straight, so my shoes is like lined up, stuff like that. And I remember whenever I put my clothes out before, when I go get them, my shoes were crooked. It used to drive me crazy, right? It used to drive me crazy. And then one time we were in church, wifey was talking in front of the audience, and she said, yeah, you know, I see what my husband does. He has a very stressful job. So before he would get up, I used to step in his shoes and pray for him.
Wow.
For coverage, for everywhere he would walk, that God would cover him, keep him, have him get a clear mind, right? I never knew that. Mm-hmm. And she didn't feel a need to tell me that. Mm-hmm. Even when she was in a woman's there, and I was outside when I heard her, and she didn't know I was there, right? So I'm just saying all that to say this. Love, relationship, and provision, just like he said, comes from humility, right? From the Father that he gave. He always works and professes, you know, to work in humility. Don't let your right hand know what your left hand's doing. He's not about bragging. Don't go bragging, boasting, you know, cast your pearls before swine, right? And I think that is just paramount because we are no longer living in a society that promotes humility.
Oh,
Everything's
absolutely.
all
Yeah,
about
you're right
me.
on that. Spot on.
It's all on me. Instagram.
Yeah. What can you do
It's
for
all
me?
about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Put the light on me.
Yeah, put the light on me. You know, the relationship has to be about me. You know, and that is so unfortunate that we're losing that now. You know?
So you say something on that, and I'm listening to everybody talk. And I think we're in a place in society now, and in a lot of relationships, I'm going to do and then see what you do. Then you're going to do and see what I do, instead of me trying to outdo you. And when I say outdo you, I'm talking about let me outlove you. Let me make sure you're taken care of. And that's the sacrificial love. And then you know what? It should be a response on the other side. Say, I see what you're doing, so let me go outdo you. That's a beautiful relationship to me. Yeah. It's not a what.
Yeah,
It's
not,
not
a society. It don't happen, right?
I do not like that word when he said my worth. You know, because, you know, I can inflate my worth. It makes you like say, okay, I'm worth this. You know, when you say something like, when you use that word worth, you're saying, well, I'm worth $10. Mm-hmm.
I think that's insecurity.
Yeah, and that's the insecurity thing. Yeah. Versus like, you know what? I can bring it, and I'm going to go back to sports. It's like, you know what? I can bring this. I know what Bossy, we played ball together. Bossy was a strong, I was a free. I said, I know what Bossy, I know he got this. Yeah. And I know I can do this. And that was working on the field relationship. And Bossy, I knew his weakness, he knew my weakness. And I wasn't afraid to say, hey, boss, I need you on this. I'm not this dude doing this or this dude doing it. And you know what?
It was never about egos.
It wasn't no ego.
That's how we was all pros.
Yeah.
It was never about egos.
It was never about egos. And it was never about taking advantage of the other one's weakness. It was about acknowledging them and making sure that if I had the strength to fill in. And I think what you said as we close this out, I think you said about being able to outgive each other. I often say that a lot of times in relationships, we start them out wrong. We really start our relationships now saying, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? What can you do for me? Versus what can I do for you? I teach my daughter now as she is in her teen years. When you are looking for friends, start out giving. The best relationships, the way you start them is by giving, because what you're going to find out quickly is who the takers are. So if you start by giving, and I at the beginning, you don't give as much as you would as you get invested in somebody, so you're not really going to lose anything, but start off by giving, because when you see that reciprocity come back, then you understand who my friend is versus who a taker is. So I'm saying in our relationships, as we start to go, let's take some of the emphasis off of whatever dollar value and things that we see on Instagram and all this other stuff, and watch out and see who is coming to offer of themselves to you, so that you have you are facilitated to be able to offer yourself to them. You make a perfect group, a perfect marriage, a perfect couple, and then you can go on, and we don't have these foolish conversations, and we can see something that we don't see much. A lot of our relationships and marriages lasting. Yo, this is Toxic is the New Masculinity. We're here just having a conversation to let you know that masculinity is not toxic. We'll see you guys on the next episode.